What's up, guys? Welcome back to Gym Tan Beef, and today's video is going to be another stream of consciousness talk, this time on my relationship with alcohol and how it's changed throughout the years. Because if you've been following me on Instagram, it was recently my birthday and I did end up drinking. I don't drink a lot. I maybe drink 4 times a year. But when I drink, I drink. Something about me is I have an all or nothing personality, a balls to the wall personality. So when I have one drink, I have 12. So that's why I make sure when I'm gonna drink, it's gonna be worth it and for a special occasion like my birthday. But I wanted to make this video because a lot of people have been asking about alcohol or being like, you're drinking poison, it's so toxic for you. And I don't necessarily think that you should never drink alcohol. And I think that it will really help when you see like my whole life story when it comes to alcohol and kind of how I came to that conclusion. Now with that, let's get started with my first time drinking. So my first time drinking was in, I would say, 7th grade, and it was at a mid-school dance. So I don't think I brought any alcohol. I think my friends brought it all, and they brought it in like these little shampoo containers. And I remember I maybe had like half of a little, like the travel size shampoo containers. They would fill those up with alcohol and just put them in their pants, and then we would drink them in the bathroom and throw them in the trash. And I think I maybe had half of one, and I never drank enough to make me like dizzy and loopy. And it was like I never was really sold on alcohol just because it made me like, I had a feeling from it, but it wasn't like anything crazy. And then from there, I think the next time I drank was in probably the next year, was probably the same year actually, or the next year. Both my parents left the house, and my parents didn't spend a lot of time together as a kid. So when they both left the house at the same time, it was like that it was time to strike. It was time to raid the liquor cabinet. So I did. And I maybe drank like 2 shots of like Patron, or I think it was Patron. But again, I felt like a little tired, a little dizzy, and I was like, yeah, this is just, it's not that fun. So then my next time drinking, and one of my worst times drinking, it was my second to worst thing to happen to me drinking, is the start of freshman year. A girl had a birthday party, and before that party, like we all said, like, okay, we're gonna raid our parents' liquor cabinets, we're gonna drink before, and then we might drink a little there at the party. So I remember I maybe had 3 shots, I would say, before the party at my house, and I was fucking toasted. I remember rolling up to the party like dizzy. I don't know how my dad didn't figure out that I was drunk when he was dropping me off. Like, he literally drove me to the party, and I remember when he was driving me, I was like seeing like the road like wobble and the trees like change shape as we were driving. I was fucked up. Now, where it got worse was at the party, we hopped in a hot tub. And if you don't know about hot tubs and alcohol, when you get hot in a hot tub, it circulates your blood quicker. So all that alcohol just went to my brain like that, and it wasn't able to process like it would usually process. So I basically blacked out within like 2 minutes after getting in the hot tub. My friends ended up throwing me in a closet where I threw up for 2 hours, and girls and my friends were just taking care of me. And then it got to the point where I wasn't waking up, so they had to call my parents, or they told their parents, and then their parents called my parents. And I remember waking up, and my dad was over me, and he was so fucking pissed. I've never seen him so mad. And I remember that I was fucked up, but I remember how mad my dad was. And he even brought my little brother with us because he wanted to show him, like, don't be a dumbass and get fucked up at a high school freshman party. But the worst part was, well, this wasn't the worst part, but my dad, he put me to sleep at like, I think it was 1 in the morning, but then he woke me up at 5 in the morning, and I was so hungover, especially after the hot tub. And he made me unload a trailer of wood. and it took me like 2 hours. It should have taken me like an hour if I wasn't hungover. But yeah, that was a pretty good punishment. I have to give it up to my dad. I probably punished my son the same way. um, but the worst part of that is the on Sunday we had confirmation, and confirmation is just, it's a church thing. So I went to a Catholic high school, so I was getting drunk at a Catholic high school with all my friends. And the worst part is when my parents asked me, like, how did you get drunk? I literally blamed it on my friends, like the people that were taking care of me. I was like, they gave me all the alcohol, when in reality, I fucking did it at home with myself. And like, how shitty is that? The people that were taking care of me, I ended up blaming. And I can't be too hard on myself, because like, my parents would be pissed if I told them it was myself. But it's pretty fucking weak that I did that, and I have to admit that. So I hope you guys, if you get caught in a circumstance like that, at least fucking own up to it and don't be a pussy like I was and try and blame the very friends that were taking care of me. But anyways, at the confirmation the next day, a confirmation is basically all the kids come together with all the parents, which are like your sponsor to lead you through the faith together. And the next day at the confirmation, I had to face everyone, all my high school friends, all the parents, and basically multiple parents came up to my parents and told them like, hey, we do not want your son at our house. He's too much of a liability if he's gonna be getting blacked out drunk. So I was like put on like the blacklist from like all of the parents' house at my high school. Like, and this is funny, like I went to a Catholic high school and we're at like a Catholic confirmation and we're talking about me getting blackout drunk at a party. And the thing is I wasn't necessarily the bad kid in my grade. Like, I wasn't the most troublemaker. I just ended up being the one who drank the most and passed out. And yeah, I shouldn't have been drunk at all, but it was just funny how it worked out. But I was super grateful for that, because that taught me an early lesson with alcohol. And I literally didn't drink the rest of high school. And here's why it benefited me. I gave up alcohol. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't chase girls through high school. Like, the girls came on the back end because they were at the parties. I was never at the parties. I was never drinking. So instead, I was focused on football. I was focused on lifting weights. I was focused on track. And I was an all-star athlete. Like, I held all the weightlifting records at my school. I broke the power clean record my senior year. I was the strongest man. I was the fastest man. I was in all-city football player. I was an all-state track athlete throwing javelin. And a lot of this was because my friends would go and drink on the weekends or drink at night, and I was just worried about getting in my protein and going to the gym and practicing sports. And with that came also, I wasn't worried about girls because I wasn't at these parties with them. I wasn't necessarily cool. Like, I was seen as kind of like the straight edge kid because I wasn't drinking. But yeah, it really helped me focus on real achievements, and I wouldn't give that for anything. Like, I make these videos kind of like if my son were to watch these, and if my future son, if I had one thing to tell him, it'd be like, bro, do not drink in high school. Like, drinking in high school, smoking in high school, chasing chicks in high school is not going to get you anywhere. Because I guarantee you, like, should see all my friends' faces when I made the achievements of breaking the power clean record, when I was the strongest man, when I was the fastest man. Everyone was like, hey bro, maybe the no drinking thing really does help. And it does, because drinking literally stops protein synthesis in your body. So if you have alcohol in your body's getting rid of toxins rather than repairing your muscles. So I was just naturally stronger than all of them already. I worked harder than all of them, and I wasn't drinking, and I was dialed with my food. And I was like your gym bro, and I was eating chicken, rice, and broccoli just because I followed like Kai Green, Phil Heath, and Jay Cutler. So I was just eating your basic gym bro stack. I wasn't even eating beef and eggs. I would have been so much more jacked if I was. Um, but yeah, it taught me an early lesson with alcohol, and I'm happy for that. I didn't drink until after football senior year. Didn't drink, didn't do any drugs. And then, yeah, after football senior year, I had my first drink at graduation parties. But even there, I didn't drink a lot. I maybe had like 2 beers at each party because my parents would still have me come home at night at 11 p.m. at an early curfew. So if the party started at like 8, I could only have 2 beers and then I'd have to drive home. And that's another thing. If you guys are drinking, do not drive. Like, at least have like a beer, wait a couple hours and then drive. Like, it's not worth it to drink and drive. Number one, you don't want to get a DUI because then you have to have a breathalyzer, which is like $2,000. You have to go to court, which is like another $2,000 of fines. And then you have to pay your lawyer, which can be like $6,000. Like, it just sets you back so far in life at a young age. And not to even mention, if you kill a family or kill someone because you're drunk when you're driving, like, that's the worst that can happen, like manslaughter. Like, do not drink and drive. It's better you call your parents or you call an Uber, call your grandma, do anything but drink and drive. But let's lead into college, because college is when my alcohol consumption just went out of hand. I was in a fraternity in college, and when I was rushing, what rushing is like you're trying to join the fraternity, and basically the older guys just make you drink all the fucking time. And the first college party I was at, we were playing beer pong, me and one of my friends with some seniors, and after a while, we started winning. So they poured out our cups of beer on beer pong, and then they poured in alcohol. And they're like, you guys are playing shot pong, we're playing beer pong. And so every cup they sunk, we were drinking shots. Every cup that we made on them, they had to drink beer. So basically, we were getting fucked up way quicker than them. And I remember waking up that next day. That was the worst I ever felt in my life. And I was still living with my parents at the time. So their rule was, if I was going to live with them, I had to go to church with them in the morning. And I just remember dragging my butt to church, feeling like trash. And I wish I would say that I learned a lesson there, but I didn't. Like, all 4 years of college was a drunk, drug-fueled haze for me in that fraternity. And I'll talk about drugs in another video. I'm not ready to talk about that yet in this video. But basically, I got to the point in college where I could finish a whole bottle of vodka to myself in one night. Like, that's how much of a tolerance I had, and that's how much I would drink. I was totally binge drinking, overdoing it, and me and all my friends would do this. We would get blacked out drunk. We would party hard. We could shotgun Four Locos. There's a video of me pouring pre-workout in a Four Loko and then shotgunning it. Like, we were crazy. And the reason I would say my mind has changed over alcohol is because I don't regret those decisions in college, because I had some of the most fun times in my life in college, drinking with my buddies, and we made some crazy memories, stealing stuff from other fraternities, just going out, talking to girls, like going to bars, bar hopping, hopping to party to party. But the thing is sorry, my mic fell off, but yeah, hopping to party, man, we were having the best times of our lives, and I would not trade back those memories. And that's what I would tell my son: if you're gonna drink, save it for college, man. Like, that's the time to do it, but do it responsibly, because I did have a downfall in college. I got so drunk one time, and this was before a school banquet. It was in front of the principal at our college. It was in front of the fraternity advisors. Like, it was so public. I literally got so drunk I passed out on the table at this banquet, and they had to call an ambulance for me, and they wheeled me out of that banquet in a stretcher, threw me in an ambulance, and I woke up with my dad standing over me again saying, "You're such a dumbass, like, look at what you're doing." And so after that, I did get back into fitness. I didn't drink as much. I like tapered down my alcohol consumption. So if I would tell my son something, it'd be like, you know, have your fun in college, but you know, do it within reason. You don't need to get so drunk that you're just like blacked out all the time. Make sure my mic's on. But you don't need to get so drunk you're blacked out, like totally blacking out. Like you can do it within reason. You can still get drunk enough to where you can have fun and be an idiot, but you're not totally like killing yourself and good at the risk of dying. Um, but yeah, after that hospital visit, I had like a $2,000, $3,000 bill that drained my savings. So I was like kind of fucked from there. And then I had to take out student loans. So just like if you're gonna drink, do it within reason. But even after college, I got tired of drinking that much. Like by my last semester, senior year, I was tired of drinking. Like I was like, you know what, you know, you can only go to so many house parties, so many bars, and before it gets boring. And my wife made a good point. She's like, I'm glad you had that experience because a lot of guys are still searching for that even after they leave college and when they're adults. Like they still want to go out to the bars and like bar hop and, you know, talk to chicks even though they're married. And you see this with guys at bars. Like they're still getting like blacked out drunk, hitting on girls even though they have a wife. And I think that's because they didn't experience that in college. And like when you experience that in college, you're like, okay, it's fun, but it gets old. Like after a while it gets old. Now I would never think of like talking to other girls at a bar. Like obviously I'm married, but I know plenty of married guys that do it. But like what's the point? Like you guys know the girls you meet at the bar, they're trash. Like you don't go to a bar to meet your wife. Like, so why would you hit on a girl there? Like those are just lessons you learn from experience. And I hope you guys learn from my experience instead of going through it yourself. However, like I said, this video is for my son. I know a lot of guys have to learn through their own experience. Like a lot of guys will tell me things like the same thing over and over, but I don't learn it until I actually live it myself. So that's why I would say like drinking isn't all bad because now, well, actually, after I left college, I was drinking every weekend because I hated my job so much. And that's when it really became bad because I was fat. At least in college, I was walking around having fun with friends. But when I graduated college, I used drinking as a coping mechanism. So I would drink after work. And I just got fat because I would eat fast food when I would drink, and I didn't have my metabolism, and I wasn't walking around, I wasn't getting sun like I was in college. So it just turned into a very bad cycle after college. It was like coping, and I would do it every weekend getting blacked out drunk, and this time spending like $200 bar tabs. But what I finally realized after spending $200 on bar tabs every weekend and then gaining like 20 pounds of fat, I was like, this is not sustainable. I have to find something else that's going to increase my dopamine. And that's when I came up with Gym Tan Beef. So I'm getting my dopamine through the gym. When you get exercise, your body literally releases dopamine and serotonin because it's good for your body, and your body's going to reward itself when you do something good for it. And then when you get sunlight, your body is literally releasing dopamine and serotonin because sunlight's good for you. It sets your circadian rhythm. It turns off melatonin in the morning. It gives you vitamin D, which is a precursor to testosterone. So your body knows it's good for you. It's going to release dopamine and serotonin. And then beef, nutrient-dense food. Now, when you eat good food, it doesn't release dopamine and serotonin. Well, you do, but you'll get more dopamine from junk food, honestly, because that's how they design it. But it's more of a long-term thing. Like when you're shredded, when you're jacked, that's when you're gonna get the dopamine. Like when you see those results come, you're gonna be like, hell yeah, I'm excited to go eat a steak and eat some eggs. But yeah, that's kind of my long-term journey and why I came up with Gym Tan Beef. And now really, I just look at alcohol as like something to do on special occasions, at a wedding, for my birthday. Like, I think it's a great way to connect with friends and family. A lot of people say that it lowers your vibe, but I think it loosens you up, allows you to connect with others, you know, allows you to be creative, make some good memories. I had a great time drinking with my wife's friends and her family here, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law. Like, it was a great way to connect. Like, everyone got loosened up. I was speaking better German, better Russian. They were speaking better English. You know, there's some good things to say about alcohol. It's not all bad. But I would just use it in like special occasions like that, for your birthday, for a wedding, but not all the time. Like, I was using it every weekend just to cope with a shitty job. But yeah, that's basically my view on alcohol. If you guys are having trouble with alcohol in your dopamine loops, I do offer one-on-one coaching, and you can find the link in the description. I'd love to talk to you guys, hear how I can help you. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. But other than that, YouTube thinks that you'll like this video the most next. I hope you guys get your gym, your tan, and your beef today. Gym Tan Beef out.